Welcome to Cult Macabre, a phantasmagoric guide to pop culture's dark side. I'm Lee.
And I'm Richie.
And today we bring to you our very first album review for AFI's Sing the Sorrow.
Yeah, this album came out 22 years ago. Can you believe it's been 22 years?
It doesn't feel that long, but, you know, time flies, I guess.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. So AFI is commonly referred to as a fall band or an autumn band, and this is directly out of Davey Havok's mouth as per his most recent interview with the Hardlore podcast. So go check that out after you listen to this, or if you want to come back to this after you check it out. Either way. And that was all thanks to the All Hallows EP, which is one of my favorite AFI EPs. But I remember when Sing the Sorrow was about to come out. It was my junior year of high school. And holy shit, like the hype was unreal. So like I remember going into the Hot Topic and seeing like all their albums on the shelf. But this was also during the LimeWire and Napster days. And so like my friends just had a bunch of burned, CDs with all their music on it. And they were just like, oh God, the new album's coming out. And this was back in the day when like, if you didn't actively read like Alternative Press or like Revolver or like literally any kind of like music publication, because that's back when we still do have physical magazines and stuff like that. But that was back when you looked forward to that stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little bit past that point. Like, so this album came out in 2003. I did not discover AFI for the first time until 2004. So I was a little bit behind on the curve on that, but very excited to have that first listener experience and immediately fall in love with the band.
Yeah, it was cool because like I was already listening to The Art of Drowning and Black Sails in the Sunset and the All Hallows EP with like my friend group. Like we all were listening to this band actively, and then all of a sudden one of them was like, oh my God, there's like a new album coming out. And I was like, what? When? It was, again, going back to the magazine talk, it's like you had to actively read this stuff, like to get, knowledge of that.
To be in the know. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like, I was like, who the fuck even has, like, who's got the knowledge for this? Like, which one of you motherfuckers is like holding the tea, as it were at the time? Like, who's holding the tea on this? What is the fucking deal? What's it called? What's it going to be? And this also was when you had television advertisements for records.
Yeah, way back in the day. Goodness, I missed that quite a bit. For me, it was MTV and Fuse TV were the biggest ones for me. That's where I got almost all of my information regarding any sort of musical projects whatsoever. If it probably wasn't on there, I probably didn't hear about it at the time.
See, it was Much Music USA before it was Fuse Television.
And, oh goodness!
Yeah, so I had Much Music USA because at the time our local cable network provider was like, oh, we're giving you guys all these new channels because we had MTV, but I was like, what the fuck is Much Music? And I found out it was a Canadian channel that wound up having like a United States channel, and the album drops in March of 2003, but the music video for Girls Not Grey drops. Or the single and the video drop in January. So I'm freshly 17 and this comes out and I'm expecting Art of Drowning. I loved Art of Drowning, but then Sing the Sorrow drops. Holy shit, what a fucking incredible record, and this is probably regarded, I think this and December Underground may be regarded as their greatest two releases. I'm partial to their Nitro Records stuff too, but you cannot deny the impact of Sing the Sorrow at that time when it hit, because like it sounds like a cliche, but it's really not whenever you say like this literally is an album of a generation.
I would agree with that. I mean, everybody in my friend group was so absorbed in this band when they hit the mainstream. I was in, I think, 8th grade when the album came out. That was the beginning of my emo years. So I was really into My Chemical Romance, The Used, AFI, Blink-182, Brand New, bands of that nature. AFI, I absorbed myself in them. There was nobody I listened to for like 6 solid months. And I don't mean just listen to it. I mean like full autism, listening to every single track on repeat for months. I drove my family up the fucking wall with this music.
I said this was an autumn band, not an autism band.
Same difference.
You're sitting over like, shut the fuck up.
But no, that was my my introduction to it was on Fuse TV, literally just watching music videos. And I believe the first song I heard by them was The Leaving Song Part 2. And then the first music video I witnessed of theirs was Silver and Cold. And that, oh man, when I saw Sad Pretty Boy, that was all it took. Davey Havok really did it for me at that time in my life.
Davey has gone through a plethora of stylistic changes, fashion choices, even tattoo work. But I think it was the whole package. I firmly believe that's why this record was as impactful as it was, because not only was it a well-established band that already had a fan base. This is their 6th album, by the way. So it was already a band that had a great established fan base. And then they finally got the budget and a record label that was going to push them further into the stratosphere.
Speaking of record labels, which one was this released under?
This was on DreamWorks Records.
This is DreamWorks? Okay.
Home of Shrek. Home of such things as Shrek. Like, it's weird.
Shrek and Shrek 2?
Yeah. Because I bring that up. It's actually funny because I remember I saw that was the record label, and I only ever knew movies from that company. I was like, they have a fucking record label? And it shouldn't have surprised me, because at the time, we had Geffen Records and, all these labels that also produce like television or movies and, things like that. But anyway, I'm getting a little off track here. So with this album coming out, it was cool to see what I would consider to be a revolution at the time. Post-hardcore as a genre was kind of like peeking through. We had bands like Refused that were out, and we know like that band is 100%, in my opinion, the godfathers of the post-hardcore movement as far as like what was The Shape of Punk to Come, which is the name of their fucking album. But bands like Finch, AFI, My Chemical Romance, and all these other bands were coming out that were kind of encapsulating post-hardcore, what was going to be called emo, like, modern emo at the time. And then they were incorporating elements of like punk rock. And then, of course, AFI is a fucking hardcore band.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like Sing the Sorrow was kind of like a slight pull away from the horrorcore side of things, but still incredible album, still very much worked out for them, still a very unique AFI sound.
Yeah, there's a lot of horror punk in their earlier stuff. How this is like, again, this is more like gothic rock. There's emo, there's alternative rock. And they did a really good job of like stringing this all together. I mean, and that has to be in no small part to Jade Puget as well, their guitar player, because they were starting to put like electronic programming and stuff in here, because, Davey has made it not a secret. Hell, this entire band has made it not a secret that they are all, even though they are influenced by, legitimate like 80s punk and hardcore bands, they are also influenced by like Depeche Mode and The Cure and bands like that. So there's a lot of elements of that they started to incorporate into their music here. And it only got more prevalent in their albums following this record. But a lot of folks thought this was their first album. There was a lot of people that were like, oh man, this new band. And I'm sitting here like, dude, no, these guys have been around since the fucking 90s.
Yeah, no. And when that first year I discovered him, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, this is new. This is fresh. Never seen these guys before. I had to work my way backwards through their discography to actually get the full AFI spectrum.
Did you have anything that you really liked that you discovered before this record?
For me, it was the Halloween EP, hands down. There's no contender there.
Yeah, the All Hallows EP tends to be like everybody's go-to. I mean, it had the cover from the Misfits Halloween on there. It had Total Immortal, So coming into this record, so it starts, every band, has to have like a killer opening track. I feel like AFI always kills it with opening tracks, because like Black Sails in the Sunset had a really killer opening track. Art of Drowning had a really killer opening track. And this one is no exception. And to the point that, fun fact right now, Cult Macabre as a podcast and as a duo here are both professional wrestling fans. I say that to say that CM Punk used to come out to Miseria Canter, like when he was in Ring of Honor. That was his entrance music.
I think CM Punk is definitely one of our favorites as well. So
yeah. Oh, we love Pepsi Phil.
Pepsi Phil.
We love Pepsi
and Larry.
Phil. Yeah, we love Larry.
You can't go wrong with Larry.
So that was also a little bit of, fun, like kind of tying into this, like, Anyway, this was a pretty long record. Actually, it was almost an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I know that last track in particular is over 10 minutes, so that's a chunk of it right there.
I feel like this was also back in a time when the length of certain records didn't like they to me they still don't matter because I don't care if an artist is like, hey man, my entire work's like an hour, or hey guys, like this work is 20 minutes. We're getting the point across. However, this is one of those records where, in my opinion, there really isn't an inherently less than good song, like than the others. I think they're all pretty great across the board. It falls into the discussions of like Blink-182's Untitled record from the same year. It falls into the discussion, and again, these are just my opinion, of like American Idiot by Green Day. I think that's one of the most perfect like rock records that has come out in the last 30 years. Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory. And I'm not talking about like, same genre. I'm talking about just albums of this contemporary like time when stuff like this was out. Like this absolutely stood among its peers as a solid fucking rock album.
I would say for the year that I discovered it, it was in my top 3 and probably remains in my top 10 favorite albums all time from start to finish, because it flows seamlessly well together. The whole album is just gold. Like there's no, like you said, there's no bad tracks at all.
Actually, the whole album's black and red, or black and silver, or black on black.
Or, whatever you saw first. In my case, it was the black and red cover. I didn't even know the other ones existed. That just goes back to that whole like magazine thing you were talking about. That bit of information would never have known that if someone didn't either tell me by word of mouth or if I didn't read it somewhere. So I had no clue. The black and red album cover is the only one that I thought existed.
I would have to dig it out, and I'll probably do this later, like when we have time. But I actually have the hard book cover limited edition of this album.
Oh, man, I saw pictures of that and it looked amazing.
It's actually in my CD collection somewhere. I have all my CDs still. Yes, I'm that guy, like your parents, like when you were growing up, your parents still had like 8 tracks and vinyl records, which vinyl's got a resurgence right now, but I still have all my CDs. And
I know you've broken them out and showed me. They're in great condition too for their age.
Just, hey guys, pro tip out there: like if you ever want to impress somebody with your Pokemon collection, or if you want to impress somebody with like your comic book collection, my game was like, hey man, you want to check out my CD collection? Check this out.
It's vintage.
It's vintage CD collection. You guys want to check out my mint AFI Sing the Sorrow hardbook cover limited copy?
Is that the thing that had the short film in it?
Yeah, it's got the clandestine
yes.
short film.
Okay, yes. I read about that, and I'd never seen it, and I would like to actually find it and watch it.
Yeah, but you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. I'll have to dive into that.
Yeah, that's a great fucking addition, man. I love when bands would put out, they still do. I like when bands put out physical copies of things like that. Like collector's copies.
Oh, yeah. Give you a little something special to hang on to. A good memento from the time. I wish I had the ability to collect more of those growing up, unfortunately. I did not. But now at least we're both at an age where we can, financially afford to do stuff like that now. And almost everything we grab like that is 100% worth the investment. I have not regretted a single collectible purchase that I've made. When it comes to music. Yeah,
I think there's some bands out there that they put too much shit out, like a lot, like way too much shit, but then, it's like, oh, here's an exclusive. But then it's not so exclusive. So to see a band like AFI do this, it's like, hey man, you want this hardbook cover limited copy? There's only 20,000 of them. I haven't seen one fucking since. There's not even a repressing. The only thing that they've done as far as a repressing was the vinyl for the 20th anniversary.
Oh, was that when they did the concert where they played the album from beginning to end?
They played it literally to the day, the 20th year, to the day at the Kia Forum.
I would have loved to have seen that. That was 2023, wasn't it?
Yes.
Damn. Man, I would have loved to have seen that big time. That would have been an amazing experience to have.
Somebody filmed it and put it on YouTube.
That's the only way I'm going to get to have that.
It's the first and only time that they've done that.
It is kind of sad to see some bands who do put out loads of merchandise, because it almost feels like when you are pushing stuff out and producing things to that level, like it I'm not going to say it takes away from the music, but it makes it seem like that's definitely not your focus.
Yeah, it starts to feel like a marketing machine at that point, where it's nothing but like record label money, and like the songs absolutely come second, but this is the branding, which again, you have to be kind of a brand if you're a band, but at the same time, like this does come full circle, I promise. AFI never lost that about themselves, in my opinion. I think they've always made the music that they want to make, which is the most punk rock thing you can do, is say, fuck you, I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do.
Which I think was like one of their biggest things when they swapped over to a new record label around that time, was they wanted to be with a label that was going to let them just be themselves.
And that's what happened whenever they went to this. They were just like, no, make the record you want to make. And they were like, okay, cool. And it was great because not only did they do that, they had 2 producers on this that killed it. They had fucking Jerry Finn and Butch Vig. Jerry Finn, fuck man, rest in peace to Jerry Finn. That dude helped produce some of the most influential records from some of the best bands around this era. He produced for Blink-182, Sum 41, Alkaline Trio, Rancid, Green Day. I mean, you name it, and he probably was a credit on some of these records.
Was Butch the fella that we saw performing with Garbage with MCR?
Butch Vig is Garbage's drummer, and Butch Vig also is a legendary rock producer. He's done work with Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, Sonic Youth. I mean, for fuck's sake, he did Nevermind. He did Siamese Dream.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude's a legend, honestly. Love that for him.
Yeah, dude, if you actually opened up the records that he's worked on, it's unbelievable. Like everything that he has worked on, like since 1983, it's so much. We don't plan on getting into these songs like track by track, but I do want to touch on the songs as far as like, hey man, like what were some of your favorites? Like once you got past the singles stage and once you got past the music videos and stuff like that, what were the songs that stuck out to you the most? Because I'll tell you right now, my favorite song isn't even any of the singles that came off of this record.
Which one is yours?
Death of Seasons.
Interesting choice.
I don't know. To me, that one kind of encapsulates the energy of this record. The bass intro is really great, and then it's like there's a lot of intensity, like in the verses and the chorus and everything. But like the selling point for this song for me was that really badass electronica breakbeat, like in the dead center of it. Like God, like that was cool as fuck. Because like when I heard that, it blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, like, you know, you got to understand, I'm 17 and I'm still discovering myself musically as a musician and as a listener. So I'm sitting there going, oh my God, you can do this? Like you can put a different genre of music within a different one that shouldn't make sense, but it does somehow. I thought that was the coolest fucking thing. Death of Seasons fucking rips, okay?
They really made it work for them. Great track. I think if we're not talking, 3 big hits off the album, mine's probably Bleed Black. I know when we were re-listening to this recently, you had mentioned that was supposed to originally be one of the singles off the album. Is that right?
Yeah, Bleed Black was supposed to be the second single, and then I don't remember if it was just like it happened by organic nature or if the record label pushed for it, but Leaving Song Part 2 wound up becoming the second single. However, the band was really pushing for Bleed Black. I think that one has a really great hook.
I think it does too. I think it's got a really good energy. I also feel like Leaving Song Part 2 has really good energy to it. So like I'm not upset with either of those choices. I'm also a big fan of Leaving Song Part 1, I guess, and Part 2. I like how they're set up in the album as well as far as the track listing goes.
I want to point out a misheard lyric.
What's that? Is it the one we were giggling at?
Yeah, so in the song Dancing Through Sunday, the lyric where he's, we dance in misery and we dance on and we dance on, I swear to God, I thought he was saying, and I'm an asshole, I'm an asshole.
It is what it sounds like, I'm not even going to lie.
Oh, we dance in misery, I'm an asshole, I'm an asshole. And I was like, the whole time, whenever I first heard this album, I was like, great flex, but okay. I was like, that's a good flex, man, but okay.
Just proudly wear that on my sleeve.
Yeah, I'm an asshole. Just like on this, literally on your sleeve. Okay.
So if we are talking the 3 big hits, which one would be your favorite of the 3? So we're talking the Leaving Song Part 2, Silver and Cold, and Girls Not Grey.
Leaving Song Part 2, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like the other 2.
Sure.
I think of the 3, and I get a lot of shit for this anytime I bring it up, but I think of the 3 singles, Silver and Cold was the weakest single of the 3.
A hard disagree. I know you already know my opinion on this, and maybe I'm biased because it became the one that really drew me into them. I love Silver and Cold. I think it's a great single. I think all 3 of them are fucking fantastic. That one holds a special place in my heart. And I am also fond of the music video, although all 3 of the music videos are also bomb as fuck. So there are literally 0 complaints for me when it comes to this album or anything that was created alongside with it. But Silver and Cold is the favorite for me.
Yeah, and I think the music video that is probably the most memorable is Girls Not Grey, even though I think that Leaving Song Part 2 has a pretty fucking killer video as far as like it's showing off the straight edge culture. It's showing off literal hardcore dancing in like the pit, like while they're on stage performing. But I think Girls Not Grey was the most eye-catching video that they've done, probably at all, really.
I'd also have to agree with that. Not to go back to Silver and Cold again. Good music video, definitely a completely different vibe than the other ones. Obviously a more sullen tone to it with the lighting and everything and the subject matter itself. But Girls Not Grey, that one definitely stuck out my head between the pops of color and the characters within the music video itself, and then the imagery of the butterflies bursting from the chest. All of that is just golden. I believe you told me earlier that the people that they used for the Leaving Song Part 2 music video, were they friends of the band? Was that right?
That's the gist I got from it. They were flying people from the hardcore scene in like Philadelphia and Chicago and some places to do this or whatever. And that's who made up the group in there, which I do need to point out, about that video, because I almost forgot to mention this earlier. It was thanks to this music video that I even found out what the fuck straight edge was. Oh, yeah, you did mention that. And it was actually the same case for me. I had no idea what those big black X's meant at all. Right. And I thought it was cool. Like, actually, like it's something that Davey still practices to this day, actually. Like, he's very much like he's straight edge, anti-religion, and anti like animal death. So I may have been seeing CM Punk with those X's on him around the same time now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so. CM Punk is also a very big straight edge dude. He's got an X tattooed on the top of his right hand, or his left, one of the two. But he draws the X's on his wrist tape when he goes to the ring and shit, which again, those fat magic marker, like those big fat magic marker X's on all the hands and stuff, face masks, and it just that video is a whole vibe. I know we keep going back to it, but it's visually striking. Like it truly is visually striking, and the rest of this record is striking as well. I think that the most underrated song on this one is Paper Airplanes. And why do you consider that the most underrated? I feel like it is. Like I don't feel like this one gets talked about nearly enough out of all those. Like most people talk about the front half of this album, and then they skip over like they tend to skip over like The Great Disappointment, Paper Airplanes, and This Celluloid Dream, and then they go right into the Leaving Song Part 1, and then But Nowhere is Home, and The Spoken Word, and This Time Imperfect, which we should talk about This Time Imperfect. I feel like before we jet out of here. I truly believe that an entire generation of people figured out what the fuck a hidden track was because of this album. For me, it was The Used. It was one of the Used albums. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. Are you talking about the Quesadilla track? Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's on Lies. Quesadilla, yeah, exactly. It's from Lies for the Liars. And then I very vividly remember Blood by MCR. Yeah, that one too. But I think This Time Imperfect is probably my favorite of the hidden tracks. I really love the whole outro for that. Yeah, it's a lot of piano, looped piano and talking, and it's great. It's very much a mood. In fact, here's the cool part, and I do want to part with this. So, hey guys, do you remember websites? Vaguely, but Do you remember bands having .com registries that weren't just links to their link trees? Or not just MySpace pages? Right. So, afireinsight.net, when you would visit the website, when Sing the Sorrow had first come out, they would have like news, tour, photos, bio, like about. When you clicked each one, each tab had a different piano part from This Time, like from the spoken word part that led into it, like the dun, 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 and it would have a different note that would play each time you clicked one. And I thought that was like the coolest shit. No, it was. But the best part about it was that I heard all of those on the website before I discovered the fucking hidden track. So for me, it was like, oh my God. Everything came together in that moment. It really did. Like that's, I thought it was the coolest shit ever. And I wish more bands would do stuff like this.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, but that is pretty fucking cool. I remember being really interested in interactive websites around that time period as well.
I probably just spoke about something that a lot of, like, if you're a youth out there, and I said youth, like, in my Cousin Vinny, the two youths out there, I probably just spoke about something that you consider to be a fucking relic. Like, seriously.
But this was monumental around that time. The internet was still kind of new, you know? So seeing people get innovative with their websites was fucking awesome.
This is one of those records you could sit around just like we're doing and just talk shop all day. And I didn't want to come into the, and Lee's the same way. We didn't want to come into this episode and be like, here's a track by track review and break the shit down, because you could literally go anywhere else. You could read a Rolling Stone article if you want to do that, which gave this record 4 out of 5 stars, by the way. This is more or less a discussion on how this record appealed to us, how we discovered it, how we discovered ourselves during this time when this record had come out, and also just the culture around the music scene that was being presented to us via MTV or Much Music or Fuse or, you know, VH1, literally any of the music channels you could find on television that would play music videos still when music videos were on TV. So that was kind of the goal of this episode today. And also, you know, when did you discover this record? Like, if you actually really enjoy this record, if this is your favorite record of all time, or if this is just something that you actually throw on regularly, not something you listen to all the time, but it's in constant rotation. Or, you know, like we mentioned earlier, this is a fall sounding band. You know, they won't claim to be. They've mentioned that being a label attached to them because of the All Hallows EP. But the reason we were talking about this on this podcast is because we do consider this to be a very seasonal, you know, record. This screams winter and fall. Like, this screams Halloween going into like cold weather.
Absolutely, it does. It sure does. It's an entire vibe.
This album did extremely well when it had come out. It actually wound up charting at 107 on the Billboard 200. It peaked at number 5.
That's amazing, by the way. That is, whew.
Yeah, it peaked at number 5. It went platinum. Like, it got certified platinum here in the United States, and it went silver in United Kingdom, gold in Australia, and platinum in Canada. And again, it had a physical release again here in 2022. I think there might still be a few copies of that floating around somewhere. It wasn't like, I don't think it was a super limited run, but I do know that they pressed enough where if you wanted to get it, you could get it. But once those are gone, I think they're going to be fucking gone.
Yeah, I don't see that coming back anytime soon.
And in case you've been living under a rock for the past few years, AFI just dropped their 12th studio album, Silver Bleeds the Black Sun, on October 3rd of this year. And I love it. I think it's actually a really great record. They've put out a few albums since Sing the Sorrow has come out, and I love that they have been leaning more into whatever they want to fucking record. This is a very post-punk record. It's very 80s sounding. Davey, once again, has changed his look. He looks like a sex cult leader Bob Ross hybrid.
Man, that dude has been through so many physical changes, like appearance-wise. From I saw him first as, you know, long wavy-haired Davey, and then what I affectionately call Karen haircut Davey from December Underground era, which I cannot tell you how much I got teased and ridiculed for wanting that haircut when I was in high school. So,
Jesus.
But now seeing him as, you know, Bob Ross Davey, which could be his final form, who knows? But I am totally fucking here for it.
Right. And I do want to point this out because I know there's people out there that did fall off the AFI bandwagon, you know, after December Underground came out, which is a fucking shame because Crash Love, Burials, The Blood album, and Bodies were fucking amazing albums on their own. So, like, if you've been, you know, sleeping on their releases since Sing the Sorrow or since December Underground, do yourself a favor and go check those records out. They're out and they're great.
They're worth it.
Yeah. For past, present, and future episodes of Cult Macabre, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You can leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave us a rating and leave comments on individual episodes on Spotify. And if you're listening to this episode on our YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to the channel, clicking the bell for notifications for future episodes, leaving a like on this video, or leaving a comment down below. Any engagement helps. If you'd like to follow us on any of our social media platforms, all of this can be found in our Linktree link in the show notes below.
And if you'd like to join us for more of pop culture's dark side, sign the Black Book and join the cult. I'm Lee.
And I'm Richie.
We'll see you next time.